All right, everybody, back with episode 3084 of the Cabral Concept. I want to go over the 9 hidden preservatives to stay clear of when food shopping. This is essentially my list of what I share with private clients. My wife knows about this. These are all the ingredients we look for on the back of labels to make sure that this is a no if it's on the label. So I've talked about this on Monday podcast before, but I like to live by essentially steadfast principles where if this shows up, it's a hard no. If this shows up, I always try to say yes as much as possible. So again, it's just kind of looking at like what are the things that we want to do the most in our life that moves us towards our goals. And when we're looking at foods, okay, clean 15, dirty dozen as best we can. If the foods are on the dirty dozen, we just don't buy them if we can't get them organic. There's lots of other foods besides those 12. Why do we need to eat those if they're not organic? And it's not elitist or anything like that because there's lots more foods. You just don't need to eat foods that are completely laced with pesticides and herbicides that you can't wash off. It just doesn't make sense. You can't eat those. Those are dangerous for your body. They're not generally regarded as safe. We know that they're potential carcinogens, meaning they cause cancer. So we want to stay away from those. All right, clean 15. Can't find them organic or don't want to pay for the organic price tag. Okay, these ones are safer to eat. So those are kind of, I just try to keep my mind, at relative ease. It's a binary decision. If the strawberries aren't organic, just don't purchase. That's just the way that it is. Even if you love strawberries, you want them, do you really want to consume that level of pesticides and herbicides? To me, it's not worth it knowing what I know. That's it. Just like based on all the research that I've read. All right, so that's just one example. But another one is when you're looking at the items in a bag or a jar or a bottle, meaning like they're not quite the fresh fruit and produce, right? They've had things added to them just to make sure that there's some shelf life. And it would be great if we could all just literally walk down the street and get one ingredient foods and all that, but it's just, that's not part of life, right? So I also like to be realistic. If I do it in my own life, I'm going to share the same with you because the likelihood that you never buy like a healthier version of chips or a healthier version of, I don't even know, some type of deli meat every once in a while, or a healthier version of, again, like I'm having even trouble pulling all these things together, but the boxes, the bags, anything jarred. This is what we want to look at because you can find healthy items. You really can. So if you're looking for a nut butter, or as I said, some deli meats or things like that, what can we do to stay clear of the most dangerous ones while making our life maybe a little bit easier sometimes? Okay, so I'm going to give you the list right now. I'm literally going to go through all 9, but the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that they are on the World Health Organization, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, etc., everybody's list as group 1 carcinogens. Like these are things that are dangerous to the public. And most of them are found in the processed meats. That's why I have a podcast on most processed meats are just completely dangerous. Like they should not be eaten. And what I gave you was just some healthier ways to look for it. Meaning if there's only 3 ingredients, which is, the meat itself, water, and usually just sea salt or some type of salt, better than all the nitrates, etc., which we'll go through. Okay, so besides the cancer risk, there's also the risk for heart disease and diabetes. That's a big one, right, with preservatives. Next up is allergies, asthma, and developmental-based issues. So neurological, developmental, especially if we get into artificial sweeteners and things like that, can also cause hives. You could categorize that under allergies for sure. And then anxiety, panic attacks, and mood disorders, even depression. Okay, so let's start to move into it. Just keep in mind these things are inflammatories, or anything that comes from inflammation like autoimmune issues can be exacerbated as well. The very first one is sodium benzoate. Sodium benzoate is, these aren't in order, but it's a bad one. It really is. You don't want sodium benzoate in your foods. It's used in acidic foods like sodas and certain salad dressings and fruit juices and pickles. Again, not in all of them. Like you can find healthy versions of pickles. It's a good example. We have pickles in my house. Do we eat them all the time? No. But like maybe once every couple of weeks, pickles are there. Oh, you can have them. Okay. Here's the issue. When you get, and this is pretty wild, but when you get benzenes or sodium benzoate in a food and you start to combine it with things like vitamin C from other foods, it becomes even more dangerous. So this is one that you just want to steer clear of, because you don't want to say to yourself, oh, I'm having sodium benzoate in this food. Do any of the other foods I'm eating have any vitamin C in them? So we just steer clear of that. And it will be on the other ingredients. So just to let everybody know, when you're reading a label for a supplement or for a food, and most of these are food-based, you'll look under the panel, either the nutrition facts or supplement facts panel, and then right below it, directly right below it, if they're following the FDA regulations, which they should be, it will say other ingredients. And if the other ingredients say sodium benzoate, just put it back on the shelf. All right, next up is sodium sorbate. So this is used in cheese, in wine, in yogurt, and dried meats, preserved meats, certain baked goods, and it's done to inhibit mold and yeast growth. So basically they add potassium sorbate and help stop that reaction of mold and yeast, which is a good thing, right? Like that's generally a good thing not to have those things. The problem is certain individuals, it can not just cause skin-based rashes and issues like that, actual inflammatory reactions in the body. So it's one I like to stay clear of. The next one is sulfites, and you could add to that, I'll just keep it at sulfites. So sodium bisulfate, potassium bisulfate. It's used to prevent the browning in dried fruits and veggies and the preservation of wine, which is probably where most people know it. But it could be any beverage as well. Because after all, let's say that you're juicing apples or you're juicing a lot of different types of fruits. That bright red, let's say it's from cranberries, which although have a lot of antioxidants, eventually these things turn all brown, right? They literally will go brown because that's all the oxidation that happens. So sulfites are used in order to keep that freshness, that color. This is a huge issue with people with allergies, asthma, learning-based issues. I would say any child or adult on the ASD, autism spectrum disorder basis, or anybody with skin rashes, headaches, migraines, need to stay away from the sulfites for sure. All right, number 4, butylated hydroxyanisole and butylated hydroxytoluene, BHT. All right, so typically it's just BHA and BHT. These are more of a synthetic-based antioxidants used to prevent fats and oils in food from becoming rancid. So these are not ideal. But here's where they're found. They're found in certain cereals, BHTs in cereals, although now people are catching on. They're trying to take out these BHAs and BHTs, chewing gum, potato chips, vegetable oils, a lot of fried-based foods. So the first order of business, and we kind of talked about this last week with endotoxemia, is to eliminate as much fried food from your diet as humanly possible. It is a very, very rare occasion that I eat fried food anymore. And it doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody, my diet's better. No, it's been years of saying like, there's just no way I'm putting this into my body. Like I'm just not eating, besides like not feeling great after eating a ton of fried food, although my stomach is usually fine no matter what I eat. And that's one of the issues, like, oh, I feel fine, but it's not healthy for you to get all of these fried oils into your body. So that's one that the only way that you can really eliminate that is to just cut down on all of your fried foods. All right. MSG, we've talked about MSG in the past. Conventional medicine loves to say that there's no real issues with monosodium glutamate, but there are. We know that there are. We know that it causes neurological issues in certain individuals. We know that it's an uptick in migraines and headaches and ASD-based disorders and tics, and it's not good. So this is one that we find in certain soups, definitely certain misos, soy sauces, certain fast foods. It adds a little bit of sweetness to the food. And so a lot of people enjoy it, but the problem is, like I said, causes headaches, can cause nausea, can cause neurological issues, mood disorders, etc. So it's one we stay clear of. Up next is nitrites and nitrates used in processing most deli meats or processed meat like bacon. And the issue with bacon and sausage and all those things, although the nitrites help to prevent all the bacterial overgrowth, it is a known carcinogen. So we want to stay away. That means it can potentially cause cancer. The next one is propyl gallate. This is a preservative used to prevent fats and oils from spoiling. It is being used as an alternative to BHA and BHT only because it hasn't caught on as much that it's such a negative. Same thing, staying away from fried foods as much as possible. partially hydrogenated oils. I bring this up because we used to hear about trans fat like 10 years ago. Trans fat is bad. Trans fat is bad. And that's, yeah, you're right. Trans fat is not ideal. But now, instead of stating trans fat, what they can label it as is hydrogenated oils or partially hydrogenated oil. So this extends the shelf life of most margarines, snack foods, anything that basically uses a lot of vegetable oils. So like soybean oil, canola oil, that becomes one of the issues, is these hydrogenated oils. And we know though, that this increases massive amounts of inflammation in the body. So it affects the heart, cardiovascular issues, blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, and potentially leading to other health disorders as well. So trans fats and now labeled partially hydrogenated oils, stay clear of. All right, the last one, and I'm going to link this up today at 3084, are all of the new names for artificial colors. So the ones that I listed on the previous show, this is really important. They're now being given names, but you will still often see the red 40 or yellow 5 on the back of a beverage or certain foods. And why this is important is that we know that although this is giving it this beautiful color that's typically marketed to kids and adults that attracts them to it, we know that these cause serious neurological issues, mood disorders, allergies, migraines, and potentially worse in many individuals. So these are the 9 that I just completely stay clear of. There are more. If you want, leave them in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. But when you see these under other ingredients, you just put it back on the shelf. Stay clear of it for you, your loved ones, your family. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, of course, do feel free to share it with anyone else you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.